How's it going, everyone? My name is Ryan Bedwell, student athlete for Winamac High School, and you're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Welcome to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Sanders Foods. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it at your hometown grocery store. First Federal Savings Bank. They don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Riverside Rentals. Discover canoeing, kayaking, and lazy river tubing right here in Winamac. Action Plumbing and Heating for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Been serving people since 1994. And now, the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Hello. Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast, episode 21 here on this show. Glorious to be back with you today, communicating with players, coaches, Winamac alums, getting the inside scoop of our Winamac Athletic program. Today we have a dandy of an episode. We have two coaches join us on this show today. We do have Coach Mike Springer. He will talk about his team's performance last week against Twin Lakes and North Newton. And then we do have Coach Colin Day join us as well. He will talk about last week's match against Rochester and their current one coming up tonight against Twin Lakes and their Super 8 this Saturday. Girls basketball we will talk about as well. Go over their last week matchup, score updates, and what they have coming up. So let's go dive deep into some score updates.
Now it's time for your Winamac Weekly Score Update.
Let's go ahead and start with girls basketball. Like I mentioned, they had two games last week. One of them, November 26th, last Tuesday. They traveled to North White. And with North White, if you ever been in that basketball gym, it's not an ordinary gym. Some folks don't like it. I enjoyed playing in that gym, kind of an old style gym there that, kind of a stage to the left in which you don't really see those gyms a lot, but I always enjoyed playing there and coaching there. But North White, they ended up defeating them 46-36. Our girls traveled there. They are currently 2-3 when it comes to North White. In our squad, we are 6-2 so far this year. 8 games in, believe it or not, kind of wild to think. With the North White game, leading scorers, Sadie Popejoy led the way. She had herself a game, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Iverson, she was second in scoring. She had 10 points, 3 rebounds. And Candace Croft was right behind Iverson, almost had herself a double-double. She had 8 points, 9 rebounds. Finish up the scoring was KK O'Connor with 5, Lamer with 4, and Walford with 1. North White there, pretty good performance there on Tuesday. And then on Saturday, right after Thanksgiving, they hosted the Rochester Zebras, who are now 6-2. We lost to them 39-46. We just dug ourselves a hole in that second quarter. Rochester caught on fire in that second quarter, and they hit some threes that we just couldn't get out of that hole there, and ended up losing by 7 points. But Rochester's going to be a good team. I feel like good competition there. Two teams that we've lost to now is Rochester and Westville, and two good teams there, in my personal opinion. Croft led the way in scoring that game, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Iverson had herself a double-double. Congrats there for Marissa. She had 12 points, 12 rebounds. Popejoy, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Good stat line there for Popejoy. And then in scoring, Shea Lamer had 3 and KK had 2. They will travel to West Central tonight. What's awesome about this, we communicated with Coach Caston, volleyball coach for our squad, earlier on this year. They are now having a girls' tomahawk up for grabs. So West Central currently has that due to volleyball us falling to them. We have an opportunity to grab that back tonight, visiting West Central. I mean, West Central, as of late, they've been having a good squad. They are 3-3 currently. They have wins against Caston, Knox, and South Central. And they've lost to Morgan Township, Tri-Township, and Michigan City. Last 20 years, we've battled against our county rivals. Last 20 years, we are 19-4 against them. Last year, we beat them pretty good, 52-32. My prediction is that we go there and we pick up a W. That's my hope anyways. I feel like our top three and then our role players, we surround our top three pretty well with our role players. I mean, it's a good squad. We're a tough team to beat. We're not the best three-point shooting team. But again, we have athletes that can compete, and so is West Central. I do feel like this will be a battle tonight. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like our Lady Warriors will come back with that Lady Warrior tomahawk against West Central. Then Saturday, they host Tri-County, which is a pretty good team as well. They are sitting 5-1. They have wins against Pioneer, Tri-Township, in Attica. They have lost to a really good Rensselaer team. Last 20 years against Tri-County, we are undefeated, believe it or not. 11-0 against them last 20 years. Last time we played them was 10 years ago. 2014, we defeated them 60-27. So that will be, I believe, that will be a good matchup as well with Tri-County there to see what we're made of in kind of a Midwest Conference, old Midwest Conference showdown. So those will be two entertaining games this week for our Lady Warriors. So good luck to them. Let's move our focus to boys basketball. We do, like I mentioned, do have Coach Springer join us today. Thank you for him for jumping on. He will discuss their last two games, and that is Twin Lakes and North Newton. They start off the season on the road. Now they host Rochester. They are currently 1-1. The last 20 years with them, we are 15-31. So Rochester, they have wins against Culver. Culver, I feel like, is a little bit down this year, and then they've lost to their rivals, Tippy Valley. Last year, when we battled them, we lost pretty good there at Rochester, 44-26. So I feel like it's going to be, it's never easy going up against Rochester. I remember our showdown when I played. Always competitive battle, but they were a really good team normally, and I feel like they are this year. Coach Malco, Winamac alum, he knows what he's doing. I've always liked communicating with him. Great guy, great family. Malco name. He has a nephew, of course, playing for our Winamac squad. So I can't wait to see what we're made of hosting the Zebras Friday night. So that will be a good one. And again, like I mentioned, we have Coach Springer jumping on and talking about his squad and what we need to do to defeat the Zebras. Let's move on to Winamac Wrestling. What a match that was against, going back to Rochester with our Winamac Wrestling squad. They hosted the defending sectional champions from a year ago. They advanced a lot of wrestlers last year, Rochester, and I guarantee, to qualify the state for Rochester, and I guarantee you folks that they will have multiple ones advancing to state this year. Tough squad. However, if you watch this match and you were there, we competed pretty good, and I'm proud of our boys for competing. Again, we have Coach Day talking about that matchup today. Again, I watched it on RTC TV. You can do that for our match tonight against Twin Lakes, and you can also jump on RTC TV to watch Friday's game against the boys basketball team against Rochester. So, like I mentioned, they host Twin Lakes tonight. That would be at 6 p.m. RTC TV, and then Saturday they host the Super 8, and I can't wait to see what Coach Day and his boys can do, and hopefully it's been a little while since we've had that championship. So good, best of luck to them. And again, we will have Coach Day on shortly to discuss that matchup against Twin Lakes, the Super 8, and their matchup against Rochester. So next up, we will have the head coach of the Winamac boys basketball team, Coach Mike Springer. Hey, you're doing it good. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
It's time for the Warrior Guest of the Day. Let's return to the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today, super excited to have the head coach of the Winamac boys basketball team, Coach Mike Springer. How's it going, Coach? Thanks again for joining us on this show. You have a lot to talk about. You have completed, Coach, 1 week of this season, this 2024-25 season. You're 2 games down, 1 week down, Coach. You guys traveled to Monticello, take on Twin Lakes Indians. You guys did fall to them 45-60, and then you guys had some Thanksgiving food. Then you went to North Newton on Saturday. Last Saturday, you guys ended up beating the Spartans 61-27. Coach, can you please go through those games, talk over those games, paint us a picture on those games? I know it's never easy going to Monticello and beating the Indians in that gym. The last time that we have done it was in 2009, and it took 2 overtimes. So let's talk about those 2 games that you just had last week, Coach.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate taking the opportunity to be on the Winamac Warrior Athletic Podcast. Yeah, tough one at Twin Lakes on Tuesday. Twin Lakes, strong foe, somebody that's a good opener to see where we're at. It's a tough opener. This year we got off to a good start. In the first quarter we were up 14-12, and second quarter doomed us. We were able to only get 4 points to Twin Lakes 18, and a lot of time as a coach, I say you can't win a game in the first half, but you can lose it. And I felt like we just kind of lost our bearings, lost our purpose, and kind of got out of whack during that second quarter. And it was a hard fought game in the second half, and but they were a little too strong for us. We were led by Will Malco and Brendan Hines with 13 apiece, and Justin Potoff chipped in 10 points for us as well. Ethan Burgess and got 6, and Jabin Hines came in with 3 points on the evening. We had good play off the bench from Braden Mathias and Alex Haig. Parker Zeider played a little bit, but he was really under the weather, and he just did it probably as well as he could with being as sick as he was. So we came back after Tuesday's game and had a practice Wednesday morning and talked about some things we needed to work on. It was a good practice. Then we got some good turkey out there on Thursday, or maybe some ham or some chicken or some steak. You never know. But then we went to North Newton on Saturday. The boys were ready to go to show that the game on Tuesday night was not us, and we came out strong in the first quarter against North Newton and got up on them 17-8, and it was 30-16 at halftime, and the third quarter was really good for us. We scored 25 points in the third quarter to put us up 55-24, and we had a running clock there in the fourth quarter, and it was just a good game for us. We got out in the open floor. We're able to get up and down the floor a little bit. We had some steals, some deflections on the defensive end that really set us up for some good stuff at the rim there, especially in that third quarter. We were led by Justin Potoff with 17, and Will Malco with 16. Jabin Hines came in with 12 on the night, while Brendan Hines finished up with 8. We had some guys come off the bench. Alex Haig did a good job for us defensively. Braden Mathias came in, got him a bucket on a free throw. We also had Sean Stark come in, get us a bucket, and so did Evan Burgess. So we felt like, we had a good outing that night. Parker Zeider was out with the flu, and hopefully he'll be back for us here this coming week. But the kids competed. They bounced back well, and we're looking forward to this week's contest.
Hey, that's fantastic, Coach. And like I mentioned, that is 1 week down and many more to go in this 24-25 season. We turn the page to our next opponent, and we only have one game this week. That is this Friday. You are hosting one of our rivals, I should say, not a team that we like the most, and that would be the Rochester Zebras. If you listen to the Throwback Thursday episode I had with Kevin Good, a 2003 Winamac grad, he is not a big fan of the Rochester Zebras, nor was I. I was not. But so, it's always exciting and fun to go up against the Zebras. They visit us this Friday at 7:30, Coach, December 6th. What do you know about the Zebras this season? I know they are also 2 games down. They defeated Culver pretty good, and then they played Tippy Valley, a pretty good Tippy Valley team, and fell to them. But other than those 2 games, Coach, what do you know about the Zebras and what needs to happen for us to protect our home court?
The Zebras. We're going to get after the Zebras. We're going to try to take some stripes off the Zebras for Friday night. How about that? They have a veteran team returning from last year, probably one of our toughest outings on the year as far as how we played. We did not play very well, and hopefully we can remedy that this time around. They have a physical team. They have one tall young man, Vance. He's about 6'5", and he's also probably 250. Good lineman on their football team, and but rest of their kids are 6 foot, 6'1", maybe 6'2", and can shoot the basketball well. They will play physical defense on us. We're going to have to really handle their press, which I think we will do just fine doing that. They will try to be physical with us in the half court, try to bump us and bang us around, and we're going to have to respond to that on both ends of the floor, because it's going to be very important that we fight to keep the ball out of the lane, and that we fight to keep them off the glass. And I am sure that we can do that. We've done it, and we will do it again. And I'm sure that our kids will be ready for the game as well. Like I said, we're going to take some stripes off the Zebra this weekend.
Hey, that's fantastic, Coach. It's been a little while since we've beaten Rochester, so best of luck on Friday night, and hopefully we can have a good crowd supporting you and your boys, your Warriors. Do you have any last words or comments before we let go of you today, Coach?
I want to encourage the people to come out and support the Warriors. We got a good group of young men. They work hard, and they're fun to watch play. I think if you haven't been out to see our middle school teams, you'll enjoy watching those boys play. They all grades 6, 7, 8 do a great job. But we got good coaches down there. Frank Shepard coaches 6th grade. Andy Stepp coaches 7th grade. And Adam Lamer coaches the 8th grade. And those guys are really, really working hard. And, we got your boy Matt Swartzel doing the JV team. They were 1-1 at this point in the season as well, with a tough loss against Twin Lakes, but they bounced back really well against North Newton. And my right-hand man, Aaron Hines, he's always doing a good job. But, come out and watch some Warrior basketball, and I think you'll be pleased by the group of young men and young boys that are out on the floor playing for the Warriors. Thanks a lot, Justin, for all you do for Winamac High School athletics, and go Warriors.
Yes, thank you so much, Coach. That was Coach Mike Springer, the head coach of the Winamac boys basketball team. Next up on deck, we have the head coach of the Winamac wrestling squad, Coach Colin Day. Hey, you're doing it. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
It's time for the Warrior Coach of the Day. Let's return to the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today, super honored and thrilled to have the head coach of the Winamac boys wrestling team, Coach Colin Day. How's it going, Coach? Fantastic to have you back on today. You have a lot to talk about. You had a match last week, your very first one of the year. You hosted the sectional champions from a year ago, the Rochester Zebras. Coach, if you can, talk about that matchup. You guys fell 37-42. It was a very close one. I watched it on the RTC TV. Very entertaining and fun to watch. Coach, can you please walk us through that night and how it all went for you and the Warriors?
Thanks for having me back on the podcast. The season is underway, and I'm really excited about how we started. We knew that the meet with Rochester was going to be close. They have 3 state qualifiers and a state placer still on their team, so we knew our hands were going to be full with them that night. We won the matches. We knew we were going to win, and kind of left things up to winning by pin in our swing matches. Having 2 of our stars out with illness didn't give us much wiggle room on strategy for that night. We didn't get the 2 pins in our matches, but we won both. And at the end of the night, believe it or not, we were still there with Rochester, but couldn't close the deal. I feel like we were ready to go and aggressive, which is always a good start. Some of the harder matches, we came out with a great attitude. No one feared anyone, even the state qualifiers. Overall, I love the fire and the fight and how prepared we are.
That's awesome, Coach. And again, what I loved is, Rochester's no cupcake. They're still a very good team. They have many wrestlers still that I will not be surprised at all that advance and go to the state championship once again, especially Beck. He's a very good wrestler. And there are, of course, like you mentioned, very good ones that are part of that Rochester team. So us being able to compete with them, it was fun to watch. And what's entertaining, Coach, and I think what you are known for you to be the head coach of the Winamac wrestling team, and I've communicated actually with a couple other coaches that I know that coach around the area, and they say, what keeps you guys winning multiple conference championships, Coach, you're really good at filling every single weight class as best as you can. And in that match against Rochester the other day, we had like 3 or 4 wrestlers in a row that got us 6 points because Rochester couldn't fill in those weight classes, but we did. And that really bumped up our score even more, put us in a great position towards the last couple wrestlers to win the match. But, you do that in these matches, Coach. You do it in conference and sectionals. Very important. What is the importance of doing that? And is that something that you just are very good at doing? Or is that a Winamac thing that you inherited and knowing that is so important to win matchups like this and in conference, Coach?
Having a full lineup is pretty essential if you want to be a solid dual team and if you want to score any conference championships or have a chance at sectional. Kids come out for many reasons, and they know we'll grow them over their years with us, and we have a good group that draws in others that want to be part of something. For me as a coach, there's really 2 seasons. There's dual team and the state tournament. The first half is about kind of building relationships with the athletes and everyone involved and improving everyone in the room. We also run strategy at each meet to get the most out of our team, moving people around a little bit where we can, taking advantages of other forfeits and such. The second half in the tournament is focused on our team at sectional, but also an individual advancement through the tournament. I'm really blessed and have the luxury of having such a large team, and it gives us lots of options. Everyone has bought into our focus and our philosophy, and we're all on the same page.
Hey, that's awesome, Coach. And again, like I mentioned, I enjoyed watching the matchup against Rochester, and I'm going to enjoy this week as well. You guys take on the Twin Lakes Indians. You host them once again, back-to-back matchups at home, which is awesome, Coach. Let's talk about the Indians and, maybe past matchups against them. And I do believe they might be in our sectionals. I'm not sure on that, but let's talk about them. And again, what you guys have worked on this week to get ready for the Twin Lakes Indians.
Twin Lakes always comes out tough and ready to wrestle. We see them in a couple weeks at their individual, or their invitational, rather. In the last several years, we've beaten them pretty handily and wrestled really well against them. I guess we really like wrestling them in December. Now, every wrestling match is important, but we have our eyes on how we want to be at the end of the season, so our preparation doesn't really change much. We just work really hard in practicing and drilling and improvement. Last year, we were reassigned to the Plymouth Sectional, so we only see them really in December.
Hey, this is awesome, Coach. Again, I can't thank you enough jumping on today and answering these questions, talking about your squad. Good luck. Good luck against the Twin Lakes Indians. Do you have any last words, Coach, or comments before you take off today?
Thank you for the time to talk wrestling, Justin. These boys work so hard in practice in the weight room, and they are so anxious to actually start Saturday wrestling. Come support them this Saturday at the Winamac Super 8.
Yes, Coach, you're right. You have another one this Saturday. Thank you for mentioning it. You mentioned it when we communicated in the preview of Winamac Wrestling that this Super 8 was huge for you and your program, is what your boys, of course, really target to try to knock this Winamac Super 8 championship down. So best of luck, Coach. This Saturday as well at 9 a.m. You are hosting that. So that will be, of course, at home this Saturday. So best of luck tonight. Best of luck this Saturday. And thank you so much, Coach, for jumping on with us. That was the head coach of the Winamac wrestling team, Coach Colin Day. There goes another episode of this Winamac Athletic Podcast. Thank you so much to Coach Springer and Coach Colin Day for jumping on with us today. Best of luck to all of our sports, girls basketball tonight. This week as well, in wrestling with tonight and Saturday. And best of luck to the boys basketball team as they take on the Rochester Zebras, as we mentioned, this Friday. So thank you so much for listening. You are listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Sanders Foods. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it at your hometown grocery store. First Federal Savings Bank. They don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Riverside Rentals. Discover canoeing, kayaking, and lazy river tubing right here in Winamac. Action Plumbing and Heating for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Been serving people since 1994. We would like to thank our sponsors for sponsoring today's show and being part of the Winamac Athletic Podcast.